Um, Man, you and your presence in my life is such an incredible, just a prophecy because I went to you. We had our experience right with the new Earth, and that was in Maui, where I was in the when you put me in trance. I was in Maui at this place that I went to when I moved here, and I knew it was that spot. I knew it from the beginning, and that was the place where the woman went into labor and had the new Earth, right?
Hi, everyone. It's Candace Craw-Goldman from quantumhealers.com. Today, I'm going to share a conversation that I had with a friend and former client. His name is David. David is my golden ticket client. And if you haven't watched my show with him about that session, you can click on the link below. I also feature David's story in my presentation for the 2024 International Mandela Effect Conference, where I talked about the Mandela Effect and quantum healing. We caught up yesterday and we got to talk a little bit. So, for those of you who'd like just a quick recap of his session, he came with about three particular issues and we hit it off. We were very friendly. We got along quite well right at the beginning. And in the first 5 seconds of his session, he actually said, "Hi, Dolores." Dolores showed up. Next thing you know, his very physical, very obvious issue that he came hoping to have some assistance with absolutely disappeared, never to return. We're not going to go into specifics there to protect his privacy. He had a couple other things going on in his life, relationship things and home kind of focus. And he also had one other physical issue he was still working on. But the biggest issue that he came with for help in the session was gone immediately. And it was a really interesting session in that way because we continued the session, right? I mean, the first 5 seconds we achieved together in this amazing way his relief of a very physical problem that has not returned. But we still had time, of course, to do some exploring. And what I remember most about this was he was in a new place. There were plenty of birds. There was different kinds of birds. They had different kinds of messages. He was in a spectacularly gorgeous place that now this is in his session, and he came across a woman who is giving birth to what he described as the new earth. And it was a fantastically gorgeous place. And that's one of the things that happened in his session. So the following conversation, when he talks about coming to a valley where his new home was, he noticed that that was from his session. He said it was almost like an out of body experience because he saw this valley where he now lives in our session. And he saw that a couple of years ago. So it continues to inform and help his life, this quantum healing session he had 2 years ago. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Thank you so much. Can hear you.
There you
Hi,
are.
hi, David.
Hi. This is my. I'm going to show you my yard if I can turn this around. Let's turn it around. There we go. This
Oh
is
my
Maui.
gosh, that's a
Yeah,
lot
this.
greener than where I am.
Yeah, this is. I'm filming. This is an avocado tree right here. This is in my ohana that I live in. And then there's some banana trees out there. So this is the tangerine tree.
Oh
Isn't
my
it
gosh.
beautiful?
Oh my gosh. Can you just go pick one and just put it through the screen for me?
I will do it. I'll send you something.
You must tell me everything that's going on. And first of all, where where are you in relation to where all of the fires were, and how did you even get there, and what's going on? How are you
Yeah,
here?
no kidding. Let me move this. Hold on. I'm trying to I'm trying to move you. Let's see. I don't know how to do that.
It's hard
Um,
with an iPhone.
well, this is not an iPhone. This is my iPad.
Oh, well, it's even harder with an iPad.
I think I'll
In my
figure it.
experience, well, maybe
Okay.
you'll be better than me, but I always I feel like I'm looking off into the distance when I'm talking to somebody on the iPad.
I'm looking in the camera, but I want to look at you.
Yeah, I know.
All right, screw it. I won't. Let me. Oh, I figured it out. Hold on.
Ethereum, that's a digital coin, isn't it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you see this symbol right here?
I do. It looks like the
So
Star Trek symbol.
it's
I
an
I gotta just press that and you can go like through a wormhole or beam you up somewhere. Yeah.
I had several when I had my awakening, I had several psychics that I went to because I just wanted an understanding of what was going on. And one of them
Mhm.
saw that symbol above my head, and I was wearing this shirt, and she goes, "Oh my God, that's what I saw above your head." And I thought, well, it makes sense because of all the pyramids in my story. But um, man, you and your presence in my life is such an incredible, just a prophecy because I went to you. We had our experience right with the new Earth, and that was in Maui, where I was in the when you put me in trance. I was in Maui at this place that I went to when I moved here, and I knew it was that spot. I knew it from the beginning, and that was the place where the woman went into labor and had the new Earth, right? And
Oh my gosh.
it's called EL Valley, IAO Valley. I'll send you some pictures. And so you knew that I met the girl that we got into a relationship. Well, I after we had our last time together where we got to catch up, I ended up breaking up with her about a week before I went on my shark dive. I went shark diving and I had been wanting to do that forever. And and I got back from my shark dive, and my chiropractor had said, "Man," he goes, "your back is perfect. And do you have any pain?" And I said, "No, I don't have any pain at all." And he said, "Well, I keep telling you this, but you're not listening. You need to live by the water." So he says that to me, and I prayed and I said, "Okay, God, if you really want me to live by the water, let it be known." Well, the very next day after I said that prayer, I went to work. This was in May of 2023. And I went to work, and I was doing this job, and an old colleague of mine that I hadn't seen in years saw my van out there, and he pulled up and said, "Hey, when you get a chance, when you're done with this job, swing by my house. I want to catch up with you." And that house was on the end of that street. So I went over there and I showed him the video of the sharks. It was a video with I was swimming with 12 different sharks, and it was an amazing trip. It was absolutely exhilarating, and I had been
Wait. Now, where was the water? What kind of sharks? Was this a contained place
no, no,
or?
no, no. It was it's in an island off the coast of Honduras called Roatan, and there's an
Mm.
actual shark dive that's pretty famous that people like to go to, and I had been wanting to do that. So we're swimming. I'll send you pics, but we're swimming with the sharks. They're actually bumping into you. The ones that I swam with that day were black tip. They're called black tips,
I
and
know a little bit about sharks. A little
yeah,
bit. I've been deep sea fishing for many years of my life. So I know a little bit about sharks. In the Gulf of, apparently it's now called the Gulf of America.
so funny. So this isn't the Gulf of America, but this is outside of that. It's in the
Okay.
Caribbean. And well, I guess it kind of is, isn't it? I guess it's on the other side, right? I don't know. I don't know. I have to look on a map because I'm getting
I need a
confused.
map. I need
But
a map.
anyway, so I went on this trip. I get back, I show my buddy this video of the sharks, and he says, he goes, "I keep getting these emails from this job recruiter, and they're looking for HVAC technicians in Hawaii. And he goes, Dave, they're paying a ton of money. I bet you could do a lot of diving out there. And that was the day after I said that prayer. And I said, yeah, you're right. Send me the link. So he sent me the link, and I created a resume and sent everything into them. And I never heard from them for over a month. I went on their website to see why I hadn't heard from them. And it said that they had 268 applicants. And I thought, well,
Wow.
maybe I won't get the job, but I did what I was supposed to do. You know, I did the
Sure.
footwork. And a couple days after that, I get this, I get an email from them, and they want to interview. So they interviewed me 3 times in 3 days, and that was in June. And they hired me, and they said, when can you make it out? And I said, I could be there by October, but you know, this was in June. I had to sell my business and get my kids an apartment and give everything away. And it was just a lot to do in a few months. And they said, okay, well, which island do you want to be on? And I said, I get to choose. And they said, yeah, you can go to Maui,
What?
Oahu,
No, wait, wait,
Maui.
wait. Can you stop right there? Can you stop right there?
Yeah.
In what kind of dream world is somebody offered a job
Yeah.
where you get to choose
I know.
which of the Hawaiian Islands you would
Yeah.
like to live on? Okay,
Yeah. So
you
I
are
said,
you're truly blessed.
I'd like to be on Maui, of course. And that's where I used to live in Lahaina, actually. And this was before the fires. And so I go to I sell my business, and I give everything I own away, and I just get my kids an apartment, and it's in the middle of the summer when it's my busiest season, you know. And I never had a busier summer. When people found out I was leaving, I got I got a lot of work. And then in October or in September, I flew to Maui, and it's been an adventure. I currently live in Kula, and there was fires in Kula also during those fires. This is up country. I'm on the mountain of Haleakala, where the crater is, and it's beautiful. It's an amazing place to be. And about 3 weeks after I got here, originally in 1999, I had moved to Maui with my best friend, and he was my best friend since second grade. And we moved to Maui, and I was here in 1999 and 2000. Then I moved back to the mainland, and that's when I met my ex-wife, and we had the girls. So I had always said when they grew up, I'd like to go back, and it just all worked out that way. And then Donnie took me hiking, and we're hiking, and I'm like getting this incredible deja vu of the session. And it's the literal spot where the woman,
A deja vu of the session, like visuals and things like that.
yeah,
Wow.
I was in the spot where the woman had the baby of the new earth. And it's called Io Valley, and it's the spot. And I just was like, not blown away, but it was like an out of body experience, almost like well, maybe I was blown away. I just couldn't believe it. And I had to just stop and take everything in. And so I work. I'm kind of semi-retired. I work a little bit.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I work a little bit, and I spend a lot of my time meditating and just really anchoring in the new earth. I mean, you have to get away from society, because there's so much going on in society with the media and the polarized experience people are having. And a lot of people are clearing an incredible amount of fear. And you have to get away from all that so that you can manifest this newer, higher vibration that's coming in, you know? And I feel like I'm never really was sure about destiny, but I'm pretty sure of it right now. Like, I'm living my destiny, and I know other people. We meditate together. We all bring in a different type of wisdom, and really try to anchor in stability and love for the planet. And you have to get away from all the conspiracies to do that. You can't be in a vibration of fear and bring in this new earth type of transmission that's coming in. You can't. You have to let go of
Nope.
everything that you knew and everything that you know or think that you know, and you have to really focus on love. That's what you have to do. And I'm in no better place to do that than here, you know. So
David, I'm so as a mother and a grandmama, I have to ask this because
yeah.
I need a little more placement where you are. How are your girls taking it? And have they been there? And what do they say?
So the girls live in the town that I left. They're doing their own life. You know, they have boyfriends and they're getting they're 20, they're going to be 22 next week. I have been gone now about a year and a half. We talk about 3 times a month. They're adjusting to their life without me and it's perfect. I mean, they are getting a dose of being grown-ups, you know, and
Mhm.
you know, they call me if they need advice, and that's really all I could ask for
Yeah.
is and I always said that if I did my job, they'll call me when they need to know something, you know, when they need
Mhm.
guidance. So if they get into a stickler, they'll call me and we'll work it out.
So
And
they're
they use
good. They're good with dad being that far away. And I bet they plan on visiting. Yeah.
yeah, oh, they're coming. I think one of them's coming in about a month or two. They might
Mhm.
both come, but for sure one of my daughters is coming here, and I have a lot to show her. You know, I do a lot of I'm in the water about 3 times a week. I spend a lot of time with the sea creatures, and they have become part of my family. You know, I spend a lot of time in the water, and I spend the other time meditating, working, or going hiking around the jungle and stuff.
Mhm.
It's a powerful place. Maui's an amazing. This island has a spirit of its own. This island has an identity, and
Sure.
it's very nurturing. And sometimes Maui will shake it up. It'll shake up your world. But you know, when things get shaken up and you don't know what's next, and you're in that place of being in the unknown, that's really the most powerful place that you can be. And when
Most
you're in
certainly.
the unknown, you have a blank canvas and you can paint whatever picture you want. It could go either way, you know.
Mhm. So, as somebody who's sort of boots on the ground, how is the area? How is Lahaina? How's the recovery? What's the mood like there? What do you say is happening there?
It's intense to be on that side of the island. They're rebuilding everything. Um, the cleanup is pretty much done. There is these layers of energy where you have an injured island, you have an injured people, you have people that have died and lost their homes. And so when you go over there, I feel the energy of that. It's like really intense to heal that. But then you have this other layer of people on vacation that are kind of oblivious, you know. um and and, and so it's a very intense place to be. I don't spend a lot of time there. Well, I go down there to that side of the island probably 3 times a week, and I spend time there and I get in the water and really just try to.
How far is that from where you are? About just
I'm about an hour
approximately.
from Lahaina. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and there's um a lot of energy over there, you know, and it's intense. I For me it's intense. I mean, I'm a like a sponge to energy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. My goodness, how things have changed since we talked last.
Yeah, it's an amazing, like I'm much more at peace now. Um I just don't really I don't have I don't have an idea of what I'm doing next. It's really I'm just in the moment here. You know, I'm just in the moment, and my body is completely healing. I mean, I don't have any pain. I don't have any anxiety. I don't have any pain. I just am in a place where I'm getting what I need, you know, and I've met some incredible people that are becoming part of my life, you know. And I'm I have said this where I'm living in an ohana. It's 250 square feet in this place. I live on a beautiful property with every tree you can think of practically, and we have like 8 or 9 different gardens, and it's a beautiful sanctuary. And it's very secluded, and I think that I'm probably happier than I've ever been, you know. And I have the least amount of stuff that I've ever had. I mean, I lived in my van for a while after all the displacements with the fires. Um, I also got a little bit displaced. My house didn't burn down, but where I was staying, it just a lot of change happened right away. And and so I ended up living in my van for several months, and it was fine. I mean, I actually enjoyed it because I realized all the things that I had taken for granted, and it really gets to be this thing where like the most important thing is just to have shelter, you know, and just to not get rained on. And a lot of people have been homeless, a lot of tents on the beach. But you start to realize the things you took for granted, you know. So I'm extremely fortunate to live where I live. I am living a life with less attachments than ever, you know. And I think in my life I have been through a lot. It's been a tumultuous life, and I feel like I'm being rewarded now. You know, I have a lot less people that I interact with. I'm more isolated, and I love that. You know, I mean, I still see people and interact with people, but I have a lot of time to meditate. You know, I spend an immense amount of time uh, meditating compared to before I left, you know. And it's almost like not even just to sit down and meditate, but to be in a meditation wherever I go, just to be able to stay in the moment. Because a lot of the downloads I had after my awakening were specifically about distorted energy and how to bring in sacred energy and how to alleviate people from a distorted conduit where people are attached to um, conduits that this distortion pulls you out of the moment. And if you get pulled into the past, this is resentment usually that you have to heal. And if you get pulled into the future, it's fear. And so the more of the distorted energy that you clear and these distorted pathways that you eliminate, the more you can be in the moment and be in that sacred space where literally nothing can hurt you, nothing can touch you, because you're in the moment, you're present. And being present is timeless, and being present is sacred. And so to get to a point where I could eliminate enough of those pathways of distorted energy and clear resentments and resolve fears that I had and be in the energy of forgiveness as much as possible. I mean, I'm not perfect, you know, but I am more in the moment now than I ever have been in the past. And to me, that's probably why I got all the downloads about how to do that process. And that's what my healing work is about, is helping people eliminate these conduits of distorted avenues, you know?
Think that you're a healer, but you also deal with the physical energy in and out of the containers of people with the HVAC systems.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't,
the getting I just my mind is going into sort of that connection space there. I imagine yours does too.
well, it's amazing how many people that I go to fix an air conditioner and they're in need of a healing. You don't realize it. I didn't realize this until a few years ago, but at some point I realized that people are inviting me into their sacred private space and they don't even know it.
Right.
There's this wall that has to be brought down for you to be invited into someone's house. And there's trust that has to be developed for them to listen to what your opinion is on what the resolution is for them. I mean, they're spending a lot of money. And when those walls get brought down and people eliminate those barriers, you actually get opened up to a healing space. Or I should say, there's more potential to help people to get unstuck, you know, and seeds get planted, and I've developed friendships and relationships with people that would have never happened without that career, you know?
Right, right. Being invited into people's homes like that, really, it's like a second layer of healing opportunity.
Hmm.
It's so tell me, you've always been a very connected person in the sense that you understand how important consciousness is. How has your meditation changed since you've moved to Hawaii? I'm
Okay,
sure it's
that's
changed.
drastically. When I had my awakening and I started meditating, I started having these supernatural experiences that are unbelievable even for myself that actually happened. And I mean things like astral projection and this the things they tell me, the guides tell me things and I actually hear it and it leads me on these various paths where it's kind of like a scavenger hunt almost, like a like a fun obstacle course that is miraculous every step of the way. And that is a gift that was given to me through meditation. And so the way my meditative state has changed is I no longer am looking for those experiences because at some point they started to decline and I started finding meditation to be boring because I wasn't getting all of these signs anymore for a period of time. And it caused me to have to go into meditation purely and only singularly to connect with God. And that was the reward now, is to just be present and connected with, this supreme being of creation, whatever you want to call it. I don't have any limitations on what God is. God is, to me, is everything. And anybody's conception of God is their reality, and therefore it's real. To me, their God is real. But my perception and what I see as God is pretty much the creator of everything. And so you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm not having these rewarding experiences like before, these intense um, experiences and meditation. And I don't feel like I'm being guided today. And it gets a little bit dull because only thing you think about is meditation is this avenue to have these experiences that blow you away. And so when those start to taper off, you get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm not even here to have those experiences. I'm only here to be present with my higher power in this very moment. And that is the purpose. And that was a shift for me to realize the purpose wasn't to have these experiences. Those were gifts that were given to me that caused me to meditate more. But the purpose isn't for all of that. The purpose is for me to be present with my higher power and connected in this moment, no matter what happens, whether there's a gift or an uncomfortable feeling, or even if nothing surfaces. It's not like I'm not supposed to be sitting here for an hour. I'm just supposed to be sitting here being, like someone said recently, and I've heard it before. They said, I'm a human being, not a human doing. And so that's the way it shifted, where I still have uh beautiful experiences, but I'm not doing it for that, where the motive is gone. So, and I catch myself with that motive at times. But you know what I found is that if I'm trying to have an experience, I won't have it. I'll have the experience when I'm not trying to have it.
That's it. As you're talking, I'm thinking, think of how many people go into meditation like they scroll on their phone.
Yeah.
They're like looking for the thing while they're in meditation, which sort
Hmm.
of it's that part of our brain has sort of been captured by our culture and society, and we all have to pay attention to that. And I think that's, at least when you're talking about where you're going and how you're disconnecting from that, that's one of the gifts of going where
Hmm.
you are. Because if you go
Yeah.
out by the tangerine tree and you just leave all the electronics inside, then something
Yeah.
something more peaceful and natural and
Hmm.
serene can show up. But it's funny how our brain searches for that entertainment.
Yeah. And we just had a really powerful storm come through here. I mean, intense. I thought this place was going to blow away. And the next day the sun came out and I went outside and I live underneath two avocado trees. There's an avocado tree on each side of the house. I'm telling you, we probably picked up 75 to 100 avocados off the ground. So that experience is just amazing that you have this powerful storm and it brings so much abundance. I've got so many avocados. All I want to do is make some guacamole, but it looks like everybody I know is going to be making some, you know?
Right, right. I remember somebody telling me once that, oh, avocados, I've got about two of them in my refrigerator right now. I've been a little bit obsessed with them lately. All you need is a spoon, a little bit of great
Yeah.
olive oil, and some salt, and
And a
you've got a
lemon
meal. Yeah,
and a lemon, right?
yeah, just fantastic. So, are you like in a little bungalow, or is it a
Yeah.
complex, or what?
No, 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 no. This is I'm in a ohana, which is like a casita. So this is my kitchen and my bed and my bathroom back there. It's a little messy, but it's one of these things that you have to constantly keep it clean. But this is the gift right here. See, there's my
Here,
garden over there. I'm growing broccoli right now.
show me the
And
tangerines again. They were so beautiful.
yeah,
What I would, what I wouldn't give to be able to walk with you out there and have a tangerine. How
yeah,
amazing.
it's definitely it's there's nothing here to really distract you except for being in the moment. Because I had this experience when I moved in this place, which was a god shot to move in here. I mean, that the way that happened, I won't get into the details of that, but me moving in this place, I was wondering why I was living in my van so long, and it was so that this place would be ready for me. I'm convinced of that. But one day I was laying on the bed looking out the window at this avocado tree, and I never had an experience like this, but all of a sudden I realized that I loved the tree, right? And so I had this experience where the tree became alive as a being. And I started feeling this transfer of love going back and forth from me to the tree. And I can't explain it better than that. But I had that experience for a good amount of time, and it was very blissful. And that's because all the other distractions of life are gone for me, that I can actually be in tune with the nature around me, and not just see it as something outside of myself, but really view it as something that's happening within myself. That every single thing that's happening in life is happening in here, not out there. That's the illusion that everything's happening out there. And every single person that I meet and every single person that I interact with is merely an extension of myself, that I have an opportunity to see myself in a different way and see what I like about myself and see what I don't like about myself. And so that's kind of more of the multidimensional life that I'm living now. You know what I mean?
I do. And as you're talking, my black walnut tree wants to connect with your avocado tree
We'll have
because
to set it up.
that's the most intense experience I've ever had is with the black walnut tree. And it
Oh,
has shown up in sessions of mine. And in one particular sessions that I'm remembering, this black walnut tree connected with trees in other dimensions and on other planets, and
yeah.
like connected with the energy there because I know that the root network, like the trees
Mm-hmm.
connect down there like that. But that
Yeah.
is my black walnut tree explained to me that that's a very physical connection that humans can understand by looking at the three-dimensional aspect of it, but that it's
Yeah.
so much more expansive than that. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a real reason that we talk about the tree of life and our roots and a lot of different, we use a lot of tree symbolism when we talk about
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. They're very, very important.
Yeah. The distinction between this micro and macro, where it's like you start looking at those fractals and it's like, oh, it never ends. We are expressing ourselves through everything all the time. And everything is coming right back to us. And that, I mean, it truly is a life where we realize that we're going to get out exactly what we put in. If we put negativity in, we're going to see negativity. Everything that we project is being manifested for us. And And everybody's version of reality is valid. That's the big thing right there is once you realize that the person that's talking to you is speaking their truth and that that's what it is, their truth, you get to see that everything exists all the time. And you get out of resistance and you stop judging people and you start looking at people and learning from them. And it's like everybody has something to offer. And I mean, talk about trees, everybody is bearing fruit, everybody is providing fruit. We are each other, and that I didn't have that as much before I moved here. I knew some of that stuff, but being here, I'm really experiencing it.
And thinking a little bit about how much you had to let go of to get to where you were, and how humans get, and I'm including myself here, especially as an artist, when you create things. I went to an art show today. It was fantastic. And I've got art around me, but I'm throwing some of it out. I'm repurposing some of it. I'm turning some of it into other things. But when you were talking about kind of preparing to get to Maui and giving away and relieving yourself of all of your things, we as humans, we define ourselves often by those things,
Yeah.
What was that like to divest yourself of some of the stuff that basically defines you, basically defines your history? I mean, was it painful? Did you prepare yourself? Was it
It
easier?
was
How
it
did you
was
get to the point?
it was total freedom. Every single thing that I got rid of, I felt more freedom. I started viewing everything as an anchor, just keeping me stuck. And we accumulate shit we don't need.
Oh,
And
sure we do.
get rid of it and you're like, I bought this and I never used it. You know what I mean? All that energy I put in and then I buy this thing that I've never used and I have like that's a repeating story for me that it's like I have so much stuff that I don't need and so much stuff that I don't use. I mean, it really is freedom to get rid of. I mean, what? We need some clothes, we need food, we need shoes, transportation's a good one. I mean, shelter, that's about all we really need, right?
I and took step to Goodwill today, and I've been doing that as I can. But here's where I get a little bit stuck. I lost my brother, I lost my mother. I'm looking at some of the things that my children made,
Mm-hmm.
books that they've read, things like. What about those things? Tell me how you managed those things, because I know
I
you
took
had history with your
mhm.
girls. What'd you
I took
do?
a picture. I grabbed my iPhone and I took a picture of every single picture, and then I threw away all the pictures. That's what I did, and it's really neat because the iPhone occasionally it gives you like a little slideshow. You know how it makes its own slideshow,
Yes, it
and all of a
does.
sudden I'll
Yeah.
pick up my phone and here's all these old memories, and yeah, so I still get to. I think I visit those memories more now that the phone does that than before.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't
Yeah.
that interesting? I think a lot about, because well, maybe you don't know, but I mean, before I ever got into this work, I was doing professional photography for a while. And I have these hard drives that have the bulk of my rodeo, Western, country and Western, some of my
Yeah.
singer-songwriters that I worked with down in Texas. And a lot of those froze up. Like, and
Oh,
there are so many of my photos there, and they've like frozen up. And I still have those hard drives, and I'm looking at them. I mean, I probably should just throw them away, but I do know that some people, I mean, you're able to kind of it's like an archaeological dig in a digital way. Sometimes those
yeah.
things are available. But I wonder about things like oh, I don't know. So you're talking even like kids' artwork. You took pictures of kids' artwork.
I mean, I have a couple bins that I filled up, and the girls have those bins in their garage, but I
Uh-huh.
detached from everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I need to perpetuate the memory. The thing is, it's all about detachment, right? When we begin to detach from everything around us, we create our own freedom. And that
Mhm.
includes detaching ourselves from people. We have these relationships and sometimes those relationships are done and sometimes they got to be
Mhm.
put on hold. And
Yep.
I don't I don't possess anybody, and I don't want to be possessed either. And so
Right.
so that experience of moving and literally getting rid of everything just showed me the value in letting go. Like,
Mhm.
I can detach from anything anytime I want to. The question is, do I want to? And sometimes you get to detach from things that you don't want to detach from. But if you just let go, it's less painful. Like, if you take I don't know, like an experience like maybe a mother is going to get arrested and the police are going to take the kid away, and the kid is holding on tight and the mother's holding on tight. And when the cop pulls the kid, he has to rip them apart. When you get ripped apart, it's very painful. But if the mother tells the kid it's going to be okay, it's all going to work out, and they both let go, yeah, it might not be desirable, but it's less painful. And I think that if you think about that with every single thing, you see that letting go and letting God really is the gift. To let go of something is the gift, because then you have this freedom that comes about. And I try not to be attached to anything, yet I still have attachments. I mean, there's still shit I'm working on, but I
Yeah.
can let go of the stuff a little bit easier?
Yeah. Can we have the mother and child reunite here before we move on?
Yeah, and that
It's
and that
mostly a joke, but I went if
I know.
the counselor in me and the therapist in me wonders where that came from.
Well, I that came from actually that analogy to me really shows how when you let go, things are less painful. And it's kind of an intense visual, but I can't think of anything else that would describe it better than that. And
Mhm.
when you let go of things, they do come back to you. That's the thing. When people are holding on so tight, these things aren't going to come back. They just want to get the fuck away from you. But when you just let go and let people go the direction they want to go, they feel very comfortable to come back too. You know what I mean?
Yes. And as you're speaking, I'm thinking a little bit about holding on to our attachment to our body and our own pain too, right? Sometimes if you can imagine that you don't need to hold on so tight to this corporeal existence, and you don't have to hold on so tight to your pain. And
Mhm.
sometimes then that can dissipate,
Well, that is exactly like I mean exactly what I've dealt with. It's like when your body is in physical pain, you forget what you actually are. Like, you ever
Yes.
get really sick and you're so sick that you want to die? You don't even want to live. You just wish it would end right now because you forget that everything passes, everything changes. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mhm.
I'm sorry about the analogy with the mother and the child, but that I think I saw that happen. It was might have been on a TV show, and that's what I thought of. It just was such a painful
Yeah.
thing to watch. But yeah,
Yeah.
our pain, we get so attached to our pain, and I think that pain, when you're experiencing it, becomes eternal. And so it's like I have literally said to myself, and not just physical pain, but emotional pain too, like especially emotional pain. When you lose someone that matters to you so much. And then there's this moment where you realize that's over, it's never going to be the same again, and you just go through this major grieving process, but the end result is always acceptance, and that's where the relief comes when you've accepted it. And that goes along with addictions, alcoholism, drug addiction. We go through the stages of grief with those things too: bartering, denial, and anger, and then eventually you get to acceptance. So it really is multidimensional.
Mhm. Yeah. It's so great to catch up with you, David. I know that you've got some place to be, though, so I'm keeping an eye on the clock for you. I want to be mindful of your time.
Yeah, I want to know, how's everything going for you?
Well, really good, actually. I still have dad. We are coming up on 5 years of him living here. And when I counted it up. It's really interesting. This is going to get really personal, but this is really where my head is at right now. Before I was ever a mother, I didn't know if I was going to be a mother. I when Tom and I were married for 7 years, and I was like, kids, well, maybe, maybe not, maybe not. I was very ambivalent about the whole idea until my brother died. About 5 days after my brother died, that changed. I absolutely knew I wanted children. It was the catalyst. But up until then, I didn't know. And those years that I didn't know, I would think about it, and I would think about my own childhood and my mother and how she put so much of her life into taking care of me and my brother. And I
Hmm.
wasn't sure I wanted to be a caregiver. I didn't know that I wanted that much of my time as a human on this planet given over to the care of another human, right? I just didn't know about that. And I'm very glad that I had my children, but I've just kind of counted it up. I'm almost, well, I counted it up, David, and I have now taken care of both my mother and my father for more years than they ever took care of me.
Wow. Wow.
And
Given.
yeah, so there's, I mean, part of me finds that ironic and funny. Part of me is very grateful that my daddy is still upstairs and I still have him. Part of me is freaking exhausted. Um, to live this way, um, I have to give up part of my home for others to be here to
Mhm.
help in his care. So part of my space is given. And I have returned for the last 5 years. I've returned to, because I know that you're such a fantastic father and caregiver. You know, those years when you had an infant and the night hours were tough because you had to pay attention to them at night.
Yes.
So I've been doing that for five
Oh,
years. And
wow.
as an infant, you know that it's going to get better. But with my father, that's not going to happen. It
Right.
cannot get better. The best I can hope for is stasis. And
Well, I think that
so every day is sort of, this balance, right? And yeah.
when you mentioned it, Candace, just between you and I, when you mentioned it, I felt this strong heaviness in my sacral and solar plexus, like very heavy. Not bad, not bad, just heavy and full, very full.
Yeah.
And instantly I saw something that I would like to do with you, that would really help you to integrate the experience that you're having. And I'd
Okay.
like to do that. It would take about a half hour. I have to go now, but I'm not done with you. I really want to do this with you. I think it would be really helpful. Maybe we could talk in another few days. Is that possible for about a
I
half
would
hour?
love to do that. I would love to do that. All of my clients are special. Some are more
Yeah.
intensely connected to me than others, and you're certainly one of them. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And thank you, because you are a healer in your own right, and to be connected with you has been nothing short of amazing.
You
And
too. I mean, think about the strong position that you represent in my life with all this change. It's so much change, but it's been nothing but good. It has been nothing but good. I can honestly say that. So that's a pretty important, not important, but amazing thing to say, that it's been nothing but good. I never thought I could say something like that, about something, but life changes so drastically. One day you're sleeping and you're ignorant, or I should say maybe nascent, and unaware, and then the next day you're like, oh my god, I'm blinded by the light. So it just feels like it feels like this endless process of relieving ourselves of junk so that we can hold more light, you know? And it's just like making space for that light and making space for that light with our relationships with others and stuff. So yeah, let's send me an email of when you're free and I'll make time for you this week. It'll take about a half
I'll
an
do that.
hour. I already know
I'll
what
do
to
that.
do. It came to me. I know exactly what to do. It's not me doing the healing, it's
Fantastic.
God.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. It's
Yeah.
always that. David, thank you for taking time out of your day. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. I'm so glad we got to talk. I have a few more things to tell you, but we'll do that next time. I'm sorry I had
Okay.
to cut it short.
Yeah, and I had to plug you in when I could plug you in my day.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that. And we'll to be continued. How's that?
All right. To be continued.
All
Send me
right.
an email.
Love
All right.
you.
God bless you. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.